He gave us coal. And he never thought one day he would want to take it. And when he realized that he would want to take it, he could not take it. And he became clever. He gave us wind and solar, which he takes anytime. So this just energy transition must remember that. We're a base load country. We need the base load. And we are lucky, God forgot to take away the coal. Let me acknowledge and welcome everybody that is watching and following us on social media. People on YouTube, Facebook, and X, you're all welcome, and I hope you are enjoying the session as we are enjoying it. Dr. Mate, I deliberately said demand-side management, and today it's supply-side management. So you're on both sides. So next time there's load shedding, we're going to blame you. So somebody has to be blamed. Our next speaker is Mr. Musa Mabuza. He's the CEO of Council for Geoscience. They're doing a lot of work behind closed doors to help South Africa to get cleaner. And we are told by Dr. Mate that you're going to give us some other good news. Welcome. A round of applause for him.
Program Director, Baba Ngqongqoshe. Good morning, sir. I stand on established protocols. I would not want to get those wrong. Minister, as I stand here, I'm reminded of an extract of a speech from Chief Albert Lutuli when he was receiving his Nobel Peace Prize, when he said, "What good is science if science cannot find expression in addressing societal challenges?" And I find the relevance of this quotation and these words of one of our wise leaders particularly relevant in today's session, because we are dealing with a menace that we have created as humanity. Through what we thought was development and industrialization, we created good things on the one hand, but we created problems on the other hand. But in the scientific world, our posture is always to ask the right questions, even if we do not necessarily have the answers at that time. So what is the question? The question is, we have made a commitment to the world as a member of the community of the world that we will transition from high carbon to low carbon economy. And in order to transition, I don't recall us making a commitment that will move away from hydrocarbons. So what becomes the scientific question is, can we transition with hydrocarbons? I think that is a scientific question. Do we have an answer to that question? Not fully. And what we are implementing today, what Ntate Khomu, with your support, Minister, and everybody here, is the beginning of the scientific community and intervention beginning to respond to that question. I dare say that if we can put men to the moon, I don't see why we cannot transition with hydrocarbons. If we put our resources and our minds and continue with the types of partnerships that are being witnessed today under your leadership, Minister. That begins to just lay our understanding so that we can locate our part of the contribution as the Council for Geoscience, understanding that we are operating in a much greater world of science, research and technology. So where we are, because we are the custodians of geoscientific information and knowledge, we study rocks. So I work with rock stars. I have a lot of rock stars. a lot of PhDs, so I know how you feel. So we study rocks, and we had been working with Sanedi over the many years. And while we were working with Sanedi earlier, we looked at the beautiful rocks that South Africa is blessed with. South Africa has the most beautiful rocks in the world, second to none. They offer everything the world needs. And in the context of why we are here, we identified at that time a number of possible basins for storage, the reservoirs for carbon sequestrations, both onshore and offshore. And at that time, about 10 years ago, we published an atlas to this effect that demonstrated that we have about 150 gigatons storage of CO2 and related gases, both on and offshore. With Minister of Finance increasing the carbon tax to 190 rand a ton, you can do the figures of the potential value that we have only from the 150 gigatons storage capacity that our rocks are presenting to us. We have advanced now, and we have identified that there are two other possible reservoirs beyond the saline reservoirs with the correct geological characterization. The one reservoir that we have identified is basaltic rocks. And in the Leandra area where we are piloting, I received a report yesterday from our Icelandic partners that only in that area we have capacity for 3.2 gigatons in the basalts alone. So we have not looked at the basalts throughout the country in terms of the storage capacity. So our storage capacity is only going one way, upwards. We have been approached by one of the coal producers, and they are saying to us, can we look at the possible deep coal that is not economically extractable and explore the possibilities of that coal adding as a third reservoir. So our next mission is to permute the storage capacity of the country, the national storage capacity of the country. I want to believe that we are going to go into many more hundreds of gigatons storage capacity that will then inform the choices that we make as a country. Is it safe to store CO2 in our rocks? Absolutely. CO2 is a chemical. CO2, after all, does come from the earth. And so, do we keep it there for millions of years and datemate? No. It mineralizes. So it will, over time, become part of the rock. So I know that society is worried that we want to remove the CO2, inject it underneath, and create a future problem. Absolutely not. So there's the capacity to capture, to store, and that CO2 can mineralize over time. So we're going to pilot this. We are busy piloting at Leandra. The first phase should be concluded in the next 2 months of geological characterization, because we have to make absolutely sure that the geological settings are correct, and once the CO2 is pumped into the basin, it can stay there until it mineralizes sufficiently. The next phase, which should begin in the next couple of months, is the injection, identification of the site and injection, so that we can monitor the behavior of the CO2 and assure the people of South Africa and our leaders in government that the choices that we have made are the correct choices in the event that we choose to inject the CO2. We would have considered the scientific evidence that supports that policy choice that we would have made. And so I look forward to a day that we will come back to society and say, we have now concluded this pilot, and it proves to be the right scientific intervention that will help us to transition with the coal. Of course, the first preference is the utilization aspect, which catalyzes secular economic activities and addresses some of the many societal challenges that we have. But as a last resort, you have a scientific base for injection that is safe, or that is potentially safe, that we can take back to society and say, with this capacity, can we also contribute to the fiscus? Is it possible? I think those are the policy choices that will have to be considered at the time, once we have proven the capacity of that the rocks of this country present to us. In closing, Program Director, I want to appreciate the partnership that we have with the private sector. When this project was started, it was a partnership of the South African government with the World Bank. Today, we have Sasol as a partner, we have Exaro as a partner, we have just concluded a partnership with ArcelorMittal, and we have Development Bank of Southern Africa as a partner, and I'm looking forward to many more private sector participants stepping forward to be part of the solution. And it is absolutely exciting, and congratulations, Dr. Khum, for the excellent work that you have done. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks, Musa. It's good news. It's good news, people. You know, as I said, you know, coal is ours, and we can do a lot with it. Now, who would have thought that South Africa would do such huge research? So if we get it right, Dumi, Swaziland, full of coal, Botswana, full of coal, we create those economies. So it's very, very strategic to the Southern African Development Corporation. Ladies and gentlemen, our ministers are stressed. We've had Parliament. We have the Sustainable Conference in Cape Town. We have the Black Industrialist in Sandton. There's a 24,000 attendees conference in Gallagher on solar and storage. So Minister Chrissy cannot be with us today because she's in one of those. And but we are still very lucky that we managed to secure Minister Nzimande. Otherwise, I can imagine go black industrialist bamlindile nje uphu Nzimande. You know, even the black industrialists, they demand to be heard. So may I welcome to the stage our minister, and as I ask you in a few seconds to just give him a standing ovation and the loudest round of applause. Minister Nzimande, Dokotela. Thanks, Minister.
Thank you very much. You may be seated. Thank you very much. It was the program director who called for a standing ovation, not me. Let me start by greeting and thanking this thing I sebenza lento yakho Sophus. Asisusa namaphepha la. Greetings to you and thanks very much, Program Director, Mr. Silas Zimu. Let me greet our acting DG for the Department of Science and Innovation, Ms. Gugu Zwane, and all your DDGs who are here and DDGs from all our departments. Let me greet also the representatives from the Gauteng Provincial Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, General Manager of Kelvin Power Station, Mr. Opa Siopa, Siyabonga ukuthi usihost. Mr. Tumi Khomo is the CEO of EPCM, Global Engineering. Dr. Titus Mate, CEO of Sanedi. Musa Mabuza, who I won't imitate, he just spoke without a piece of paper in front of him. Very impressive. But I won't imitate you. I used to do that in my younger days. The CEO of the Council for Geoscience, of course. Representatives from industry who are here. All of you, you are most welcome. Very important. Representatives from the media. As you were saying, Program Director, we hope the media do not only get a good story today, but they cover the good story as well. Because there's usually a difference between receiving a good story and covering the good story. Ladies and gentlemen, let me greet you and just say that I'm really delighted to be here at the Kempton Power Station for the launch of this important project. I wish to start by thanking our host, the Kempton Power Station, together with all the institutions that have been involved in preparing for this event, together with the Gauteng Department of Agriculture and Rural Development and the City of Ekurhuleni, for giving us the required approvals to proceed with this novel demonstration of the potential power and purchase of new energy technologies in the search for a carbon neutral future. You know, given who is here, this is like the best and the cream of South African science community and other government structures that are doing great work. I want to say without fear of contradiction that our science prowess is not only recognized in the African continent, but it's recognized worldwide. We also appreciate industry participation to be traveling with us in this pioneering work that we are doing. You know, our DG, Dr. Mjwach, acting DG is one, took me to the United States, was it last year or year before last, to something called National Institutes of Health. It's the single largest health research center in the world. It's in Washington, D.C. That's where former President Trump was hospitalized when he had COVID. And I was welcomed by the acting director of this massive institution. It's got 9,000 postdoctoral researchers, 9,000 in one camp. Well, they said it's 6,000 in one campus and the 3,000 are spread throughout the world. So the acting director said, Minister, the reason why I'm here, I'm very busy, as you can imagine, but I said, when I heard that the South African Minister of Science is coming, I said I must drop everything and just come and greet you and just talk to you for not more than 15 minutes to say, I wish on behalf of the research community, and even I dare say the government of the United States, wish to apologize to you as South Africa. Please pass on this apology to your president. Because when he discovers the first variant of COVID-19, we reacted very negatively to South Africa and said, this is your virus, the world doesn't know it, and we started even limiting flights from South Africa and so on. He says, without you actually having discovered that variant, a lot more American people would have died. And we were wrong to actually punish you. And I want to apologize for that, because as South Africa, you did not only help the United States, but you helped the whole world. And we respect your scientific prowess. Then he said, I don't know, acting DG, whether now we have taken that up. He said, out of the 9,000 postdocs, only 2% are from the African continent. Give me more postdocs from the African continent. I don't know whether we are taking that up as part of that apology. I'm telling this story, I always like to tell it, because South Africa, we have got a lot of potential in science. Huge. And what we are doing today is a further demonstration of that. I also want to welcome all representatives from the flue gas emitters, the policymakers, the environmentalists, government, investors and industries that have shown interest in carbon capture and use, CCU as we call it, that technology, and have come to witness the launch of the technology demonstration today at Kempton Park. This event marks an important milestone in our just energy transition journey as a country. We have to locate this within that without use of new technologies and the development of our science, we won't have a just energy transition. So what we are doing here is very important in that context. We are gathered here today to witness the demonstration of a technology considered by many as a potential game changer in the reduction of CO2 emissions, whilst also having the potential to deliver added value to our economy in the form of new economic value chains. This is important because also this technology has got the potential of creating massive new industries, given the derivatives that we can get out of this. Carbon capture and use was chosen by my Department of Science and Innovation as a technology that could play a significant role in reducing emissions in the hard-to-abate sectors while also ensuring energy security for our country. With this, we are hitting many birds with one stone. It's managing climate mitigation is to advance that. We have 300 years of coal in South Africa. Shows that we can actually still use our coal but minimize the emission. At the same time, we can transform, as I saw this morning, this carbon emission that we are capturing into a variety of products. So we are doing many things at the same time. This technological innovation, at least in principle, but hopefully also in practice, enables our country to ensure a strategic balance between our enduring reliance on coal, as I have said, to generate energy, and our solid commitment to climate change mitigation. You see, as I was going to the media, I was asking lots of questions before I go and speak to the media, because I really wanted to appear as very educated, you see, in these matters. I didn't want to stammer or anything, you know. So I asked a quick question. Was it from the general manager and Professor Wait, was a Stellenbosch, Sela was Sanet. And I said, by how much can we reduce carbon emissions through this technology? He said, by 50%. And that's already our target so far that we actually have. I could see the media, they are here, by the way. I thought that I was talking without them being here. I could see they were very impressed and surprised that I just answered like that. But that also struck me, actually, that if we can be able to do so through this technology, we really are able to balance our use of coal and climate mitigation. I don't want to say this because we ended up becoming some friends with the former German Chancellor, Madam Angela Merkel. Because when she was here on a state visit, I was part of the delegation of President Ramaphosa to meet. I remember asking her in the meeting, Germany have a lot of coal. We were expecting that you have some technology, at least to do clean coal. She said it's too expensive, it's not possible. As Germany, we have just committed ourselves to doing just abandoning coal, you know. I hope I will meet her one day if I visit Germany, you know, because we became bits of friends. She was just curious. She grew up in East Germany, which was a communist country. Now he comes to South Africa, he meets a minister who is a communist. So she just really got impressed and attracted to me. I was like a curious study, you know, to her. We became friends, actually. I remember that I didn't have to accompany her to the airport, but she requested that I accompany her to the airport. I said, who I am if the German Chancellor says there's nothing you can do about coal. But I have a story to tell her when I next meet her. And she will hear about this even before I tell her that indeed, as our slogan says, it's possible, you know, to do it. As a signatory of the Paris Agreement, our country is obliged to honor its commitments to climate change mitigation. In support of the country's climate change mitigation policy, my department has partnered with the South African Small Medium Enterprise, EPCM Global Engineering, and we are very excited about this. Because usually we tend to think that partners, industry partners, are always your big companies, which are massive. It shows the potential of SMEs to really play a crucial role, even in the technology space, in our country and beyond. That through this partnership, we are demonstrating the coal CO2X technology in the hard-to-abate industries, such as cement, steel, chemicals, and power production. That's what is nice about this technology. Where there is flue gas, it's got the potential to deal and actually transform it into a whole range of other products. The objective was to assist these industries to reduce the carbon intensely in their production processes and products for their long-term sustainability. Following the first successful demonstration at PPC Cement, we would like to thank PPC Cement, by the way, for this, in Dwaalboom in January last year, more stakeholders from the private sector and government departments have come on board to express their interest in the CCU technology. This is a huge opportunity. It's a partnership that actually will change the nature of energy in our country. I have no doubt about that. And thanks for PPC for raising its hand to allow us to show the world that you can capture flue gas and convert it into a useful product like a fertilizer salt, which is critical to boosting agricultural production. Indeed, through this project, we were able to demonstrate also that we can turn challenges into opportunities. Such opportunities include the creation of new economic value chains for fertilizer, green hydrogen, and ammonia production, which can potentially create new jobs whilst preserving existing ones in the coal sector. That's another very important aspect of this as a job creator. That's why I'm linking it to the earlier point that I was saying, is that without such technologies, we can't have a just transition. Because a key component of a just transition is to keep jobs. And also in the process, reskill, upskill existing workers who are already there. You know, I went to Davos this year. For the first time, I went to Davos. I was quite curious what happens in Davos at the beginning of each year. Beautiful place. The snow is amazing. It's beautiful. Of course, it's cold. I sat in a few discussion groups. The one discussion group was on upskilling and reskilling in the light of new technology. I didn't know this group is a permanent group. It does not only meet at Davos, it does work in between. And they said they are planning between January 2024 and January 2025 globally to reskill and upskill 1 billion workers in all sorts of workspaces. I was shocked. I've never had such a big figure that you can do that in 1 year. But they are committed to do that. My disappointment is that when they then showed the map of the world as to what is happening and where things are going to happen, it was against a whiteboard like this. There was no Africa in the map. Absolutely nothing. The reskilling and upskilling was Europe and North America. I'm raising this because we have a task. Well, the little bit that was there was South Africa and Kenya, a little bit in Nigeria, and a little bit somewhere there. But these were like separate islands. You couldn't say they are part of the African continent. We have a huge challenge to also embark on reskilling. My Department of Higher Education and Training is very much a partner to this. That if we want to identify and work together in order to reskill and upskill existing workers, we'll work together. We also envisage a situation where, adjacent to the coal-fired power stations, fertilizer and sulfuric acid production facilities are established, creating new jobs and improving the quality of life for all South Africans. Such plans will viscerally demonstrate our commitment to promoting the circular economy as envisaged in our own decadal plan for the Department of Science and Innovation. I can't remember who was talking about the fact earlier that we are throwing away too many things as South Africa. Titus, yes, which we can actually use. This actually is a dimension of a circular economy that you capture. Yes, Loiso. We capture carbon and we produce a whole lot of things. As a potential off-taker for the locally produced green or low emissions hydrogen, the coal CO2 X technology was included as one of the catalytic projects for another important task, which is that of implementing our hydrogen society roadmap in South Africa. Thus, the project has the potential to stimulate the demand for locally produced hydrogen, which would facilitate the building of an ecosystem for local production, storage, and distribution for both domestic consumption and export processing. It should be noted that some funders have expressed reservations on the production of green hydrogen only targeted for the export market without supporting a domestic industry as an off-taker. And I agree with this view, by the way. If we are not going to use hydrogen internally, we are not going to be good exporters of it. That is why already in terms of our hydrogen society roadmap, we have already identified what we call one hydrogen valley, from Limpopo, N1 to N3, down to Durban. That valley would like it to be driven by a hydrogen fuel cell, as an example. The N3 is the main artery of our economy. Limpopo is mining, and if we can just make that corridor to be a hydrogen valley, that will actually help us a lot. And I agree with this sentiment of domestic use. I also want to quickly highlight some work on carbon capture and storage led by the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy through the Council for Geoscience, MUSA, in the development of a carbon capture and storage facility in Mpumalanga. I would like to point out this is a great opportunity for us to collaborate with the Council for Geoscience to decarbonize the power stations in Mpumalanga, as all these projects are complementary across the policy spectrum within government. Also as an opportunity to educate some of our own politicians. You don't go to Mpumalanga and say, I'm not going to close the power stations. I'm going to live here. The coal power stations, they are always here. You need to educate them a bit. If you are not going to close them, let's also support carbon capture as well and understand how we are trying to modernize the coal that we are mining. Scientists also have got a role to educate our people about the role that science plays in changing society for the better. As some of you may recall, the cold CO2 to X technology was exhibited during the inaugural Presidential Science, Technology and Innovation Plenary at the CSIR Convention Center in Tshwane on the 12th of December last year. We are glad that the President had the opportunity to visit the exhibition and also interacting with the team, whilst also expressing his interest to see this technology being tested and validated in South Africa. At our next event and activity along this path that we are traveling, we must make sure that the President is here. I did tell him, by the way, about this, but he didn't have time because there are so many demands on his time. I'm also going to brief him that, listen, President, this thing we were talking to you about the other day at the CSIR from a piece of paper, it actually exists. It's real. You can feel it. You can touch it. It is here. The potential for CCU to reduce emissions is undeniable. From our first demonstrations at PPC, as I have said, results show that CCU technology could reduce CO2 emissions by as much as 90%, by the way. 50% is just about the minimum, by up to 90%. That's the potential of these technologies. In addition, modeling done by the International Energy Agency focused that carbon capture use could provide 19% of total global emission reductions by 2050. I believe we can significantly reduce emissions if we deploy CCU at scale across the public and private sectors of our economy. Given our country's current energy crisis, we need to ensure that coal remains a part of our energy mix. And we really strongly invite the private sector to invest in this. We're prepared as government to listen to you if you think that maybe we aren't incentivizing you enough. We're prepared to look at further incentives, working with my partners, DTIC, Minister of Electricity, Department of Minerals and Energy, so that we are able to attract more investment into this area. I'm also delighted that this particular plant here, the test that we are doing this, is the product of collaboration, as I have said at the beginning. Our vision for the future is for a clustering of local SMEs being built around the critical power stations, steel, cement, and chemicals operations providing new carbon capture and utilization solutions, thus creating an enterprise development and job and value creation pipeline. If we can push the commercial application and scalability of these greenfields technologies, both my departments, Higher Education and Training and Science and Innovation, will provide, as I have said, a supportive technology innovation and skills development support system. Already I'm looking into this to my Chief of Staff, as I was going through here as to what are some of the immediate skills demands for this technology. It's something that we need to look at. Do we need to produce new types of artisans? Do we need to reskill the existing artisans to actually understand what we are doing? Possibly. Finally, I would like to emphasize the importance for cross-sectoral collaboration, not only within and across government and its agencies, but with the private and developmental sectors in exploiting the commercial and social potential of breakthrough technologies, suitable for the historically specific challenges facing South Africa's energy climate nexus. I'm glad also I hear some of our universities are here, because they are very crucial partners by them. It's very, very important. And our universities are doing amazing research work. So we have the perfect partners here. It's like the perfect wedding, you know, to be able to move together forward. My appeal, therefore, is for all the critical stakeholders in the flue gas emitting industries to collaborate with government as we plan the next phase. Let us use this extraordinary opportunity and this innovative technology that we are working on to make this year the moment of decisive change in the fight for energy security and climate change mitigation. And let us do it together for the benefit of our country, its people, and the world. The way I am so impressed by this, I wish I could say, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. But I always warn that as a non-English speaker, sometimes you can get these things wrong. As somebody said, I would really like to thank you from the heart of my bottom. So I'm always reluctant to say so. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Minister. A round of applause for the Minister again, please. So, Minister, your department has done many things, and I think as I was sitting there and you were talking, I was saying as a country we need to acknowledge things that are done well. You know, some years ago, your ministry started the fuel cells. And today, if you go to Dube Port, there's a fuel cell company manufacturing them here in South Africa for the telephone, MTN, Vodacom. It's working. And it all started with people criticizing the ministry that, it's not going to work. Who has done it? Now, you know, who would have thought that Germany would have said this technology won't work? Yeah, I'm going to tell them in my next visit to Germany as well that you guys, we must learn from us. The impact is so huge, Minister. In each and every, Eskom has got what, 40,000 plus employees? So in each and every station, there's about, for each Eskom employee, there's 3 contractors that are working in each station. So there's around about 120,000 contractors, temps. This is excluding the 100,000 odd on the coal industry, including the trucking. And these numbers we were saying by 2035, all of these people must sit at home. That's the importance of this today. We are saying those jobs are going to be saved. And we are proving that they'll be saved. We are not reading from a textbook. We are here. Sorry, SABC. Oh, it's a state-owned company. So, Minister, again, thanks a lot for your speech. It's very, very courageous, and we will work together. The Minister is saying we must work together. Business, come on board. It's the same government that said private sector, come on board. We are criticized today, but we've got IPPs that government said allow private sector. Not you, Opa, you are the first IPP in the country. We appreciate that. But, you know, from 2011, we've consistently having renewable programs led by government. It didn't happen by itself. And government does not get to be acknowledged on that. But I think they are used to not being told the good news. So we've saved you some time. So what I'm going to do now is to allow our Dr. Mlungisi Cele to give us the vote of thanks. Dr. Mlungisi is from the National Advisory Council on Innovation. So he does deserve a round of applause.
Program Director, I hope SABC is still here and they haven't switched off now, because Pepe to also want to appear on TV, Colleagues, my job is very simple. Unlike other people who are given the task to, they start opening iPad and read speeches. So it's very simple. Firstly, let's appreciate the Program Director for having been technically competent in executing his job as a technical advisor to the Minister of Electricity. We also like to, of course, to extend special word of appreciation to Professor Nzimande. Program Director is a professor, not a doctor any longer. So. And then, of course, Minister Krisi in her absentia, Acting Director General. She tells me, Minister, that she's acting for the last time, and I'm drunk. So she's really happy with this role. And I hope the people who are taking pictures make sure that she's sitting here, just pass around. And then, of course, the leadership and staff of Kempton Park, you really deserve a round of applause, because without you, we wouldn't be here. So in our eyes, you are all equal, so we are not going to single out any one of you. And then to all our speakers, I've been told that I have to really mention you. Mr. Nkwana, I was saying to my colleagues, Minister, every time I interact with provincial and local government leadership, you just see the difference between, in terms of their posture compared to us from national government. They really embody, the kind of government leadership, the level of confidence they demonstrate. It's amazing. And also, Mr. Home. In fact, I was tempted, colleagues, to ask, as a condition for you to go to the demonstration, to do a test between the speech, the Ndebele speech, and the minister's speech, just to ask 2 questions to see who can answer. You could choose between the 2, and then if you fail to answer, then you won't go to the demonstrations. But those who are Christians, I'm told this period is very sensitive if you want to go to heaven one day. So you have to be very kind to people. Dr. Mate, we are grateful as well, and Mr. Mabuza for your input. Minister Mabuza, ubalekile vets. Ubekwe cancel wabaleka. Njengoba performa nje la. Ziyabuya vets ubalekile kwe cancel. So he finds refuge. Dr. Alain Strickroth, please forgive me if I've really killed your surname. I'm told you're coming from CPPE. And then Mr. Azwi Mamanyera from ESCOM. And then Mr. Mpatinyewe from Black Business Council. We do acknowledge, and the city of Ekurhuleni, of course. And then to all of you participants here, as well as those that are connecting through Facebook, YouTube. I nearly said Twitter, but I was reminded that Twitter is no longer in existence, it's now X. So we are really grateful to all of you. And then finally, I wish to thank myself as well for having been part of this, because people who normally are given this task, no one thanks them.
May I thank Undosi. Dr. Cele, thanks for the well summarized of what happened today. Last announcements, and Minister, this is important. When Dr. Mjwara called me and he said, we must meet. He didn't say we need to meet. You know, when you say we need to meet, I can give you a date of May. When you say we must meet, it's a matter of now. And I remember I was in Cape Town. He said, no, I'll wait for you. And he waited for about 3 hours for me because other things could not be moved. And he told me about this technology. So I said, okay, no, it's fine. And I said, but why are we talking about this? The Minister of Electricity is new. Where has this been? Who have you been talking to? And he said, look, we're piloting in Kelvin. So OPA had already hinted to me last year that this thing is coming. I thought, nah, we're a government. We'll never go to an IPP. But sadly, Minister, your department approached the ESCOM, and at the time, ESCOM said, we are shutting down. But ESCOM has been mentioned today because through Dr. Mjwara, we arranged meetings. We've had 4 meetings already. ESCOM is taking leadership on this thing. I think they're meeting next week for 3 hours as well with the experts from Germany. So it will be a combination of public-private sector, Minister. And we had to tell the ESCOM, thou shalt do it. So we are at a stage where a lot of you need that diesel. Can I have that diesel, please? And a lotion. Did you say it's a body lotion or a hand lotion? For the feet?
No, it works for sealing paper.
Oh, le wax Leo.
You can make candles.
Serious? South African product. Where was this done? At the cement or here?
It was an extract done by CJ.
Cape Town. Thank you. It is Leaduram for it. So, and I know it's nothing to my car, but it will help to my next meeting. So it's actually great news to me. Don't underestimate the little story you gave us here. It brings so much hope. You know, if what had happened in 2021 about the shutting down of stations and all that, I don't think I would have gone and studied engineering, Minister. Because where was I going to work? So this revives us as well as engineers to say we did the right decisions by following that career. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the point where people need to see this demonstration. The Minister has seen the demonstration. If it was not working, he would not have sat here. So it is working. So what we're going to do is we're going to have lunch. There are 2 shuttles that are available that will take 25 people in maximum to inside the plant to view the demonstration, while others are having the snack lunch and chatting more about what we've had today, including the joke of the Minister. I can't repeat it again, a heart or bottom, something like that. So those that are not interested, please hang around, let's have some chat. Those that are interested, we'll give you until around what time, Uber? 4 o'clock? 4 o'clock, after 4 o'clock, can we let Kelvin do its work as well? But again, thanks a lot to everybody. Thanks for your cooperation. Minister, I see there's a group here from India, Jindal. Can you guys stand up? I don't know how many are you there. No, I said India, not white. Are you from India, sir? Okay, he's one of their general managers. So this is the ESCOM of India. They're doing coal stations, and they came to tell us that don't shut down your coal stations. They're building a new plant as we're speaking in Botswana, and I've never seen brave people like this. They actually came and said, sell us all your coal stations, we'll buy them. So I don't know who invited you guys, but thanks for joining. Okay, lunch is served. Thank you.